All right, guys. So it's just the way we start it. Is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with me and Colin tonight. Excuse me. But yeah, it's been a hell of a year. We've done 52 episodes. Now it's been more than a year that we've been putting these out, but we figured since we got 52 episodes in, that's averaging one a week for a year. We discuss what we been going over and what we think about everything and what we've learned. Wouldn't you say, Colin?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about in the pre-show. Just a little bit of instead of just uh, plowing straight ahead, sometimes it's good to take a step back and look at where we've gone, where we've been, and where we're going. Get context. Um, and no, sorry, is my audio coming through? Hug
Yeah,
that a
you're
little
good, man.
closer. There we go.
And how do I sound? Do I sound?
No, you sound perfect. Yeah, you're good to go. Um,
Yeah.
it's a part of why I agreed to do this was I've been before Cody started this podcast, I was just calling random family members just to see, or people, friends that were close to me, or people like just to try to get a bearing on where I was and what was happening in the world around me. And the responses I get from people they used to vary dramatically. Some were violently resistant to even going anywhere introspective and and just so people understand, my primary friend group were all Christians, and they were not willing to go within to look at the inner world, at what's happening inside of us and why. Um, and they certainly were not willing to go into the exoteric, into the outer world, which is the phenomenological, meaning the things that happen in front of our vision, the things that we perceive to be real outside of our bodies. So it left me in a bit of a quandary. And there were a few friends and maybe one or two family members that were willing to go there with me, and Cody was one of them. And it just so happened he was doing a podcast, and I jumped in right in the middle of this very dark night of the soul that I've been having for almost the last 4 years, which I'm tired of having a dark night of the soul, by the way. So I'm ready for that to be over whenever that's done. Just for whatever higher powers are out there, just letting you know, I'm tired of this. But I
Well,
understand at the same time why it had to happen this way. So I get it, but yep, go ahead.
I read that book. What's it? Get who it was, but it's called God Talks.
Yeah, I've gone through about half of it.
What do you think of that?
It's energetically and spiritually good.
Yeah.
Um I think it's very useful for the vast majority of people. So I would recommend it to people for sure.
Yes.
I got some good positive stuff out of it for sure. So I don't think it goes, but I think it's what I liked about it. It was a very it sounds very sales pitchy in the writing. Like this clearly is a sales guy talking, but when you get into it, it's very personal, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like whenever people open up at a personal level and articulate what's been going on in their world. So I
Well,
like the book. Yes.
so I listen. I got tired of the news. Um, you listen to the news, it's gotten so bad you can hear the slant in it, just the way they present it. It's all slanted. So I went out for alternative sources of news, and I started listening to Soft Rep, uh,
Soft rep?
which is Soft Rep. Ever heard of that?
No.
Special Forces Soft.
Oh, okay. Soft rep?
Yeah, it's like soft radio. Soft Rep. David Webb is one of the guys. He's a
Is it a channel?
yeah. It's a YouTube chat. It's
Oh,
not a YouTube channel. It's actually a web page.
okay. No, I have not encountered these guys.
Yeah, Soft Rep right here.
Anyway, you found them, and then what happened?
Well, I was trying to. So this is soft rep right here. That's where I get alternative news. They have different. I like guns. They have gun sponsors. They have a bunch of stuff. You can go like military news, and it'll tell you about the newest, latest, greatest military stuff. And it talks everything from a soft, like special forces point of view. And so I listen to these guys a lot. And they had interviewed that guy that did the book God Talks, and I was in a kind of a, I don't know how you say it, but
A
I
hole?
kind of was trying to find some truth. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. Welcome to
actually,
the
I read
party,
the
pal.
book. What?
I said, welcome to the party, pal. Yep.
Great line from you know where that line comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Bruce Willis threw a guy out of the window and yelled that to a black guy down below near a cop car. I believe he was Carlton Winslow, who is also a gay man.
The black dude?
Mm-hmm. No. He may not be, although it's very possible he is as well. I'm thinking of the dad from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
No, yeah. No, that was the guy you're talking. This is the dad that was on with that
This
guy
is
that showed that
Family
Urkel.
Matters. Yeah, Family Matters.
He just outed a guy that was.
He may
anyway,
not. He may be gay. I don't know. He might be gay. Just saying. Very possible. I would not whistle in the graveyard on that one.
So I every morning. Well, I what is it? I was starting to feel really achy and painful. So every morning I get up, was doing like a 2-mile walk. And I put this podcast on, and I was doing like 28-minute mile, which you look back at the stats and you're like, that ain't crap. That's a horrible mile to walk. Let's just say in the same period of time now, I walk 6.5 miles in 2 hours instead of, 2.5 miles in 2 hours. So, but, so I put this book on. I was feeling really depressed, and I started going through this book. So I started doing what it's saying. You can go on Audible and download the things where they tell you how to meditate. And so I was asking God about the future. I was asking God about, your past, and you got to clear your thoughts. And I was asking God about what I should do in the future. And he told me to call in this thing for some reason. So, and I was looking for something to do. I was feeling really depressed last year. Colin was too. So, he was telling me all this crazy stuff, and I couldn't digest it because it's so out there. So I suggested it would be fun to do it on a podcast. Because I'd been thinking I started another YouTube channel, and I'd gotten all the equipment to do a podcast for that. And that podcast fell apart, but I guess prayer led me to Colin. And then now we've talked to Ian Burlingame. We've had, Colonel Towner on.
Tom Luongo.
Yeah, that guy was nuts, but that was off the rails.
In a very good way. Like,
and I don't mean in a bad way. The guy's energy is amazing.
Yeah, Tom is the man, dude. That's all I can say about Tom. I love him to death. He's such a good guy. Like,
I actually just stopped trying to edit out all the cuss words when
you can't. That's why I breached it in the beginning. I broke the ice. I was like, hey, you can F off you can say whatever F words you want here. I know it was a little cringy, but it's kind of, Tom does his best when he feels comfortable, and he's only comfortable swearing. So,
well, he's apparently so is E.M. Burlingame. So,
EM just doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care.
He does not care. That first podcast he came on with us, he was a lot more like collect it. And the second time,
Yeah.
I think his comfort level was a lot higher.
Well, he was also very tired that night. And he came on a little later and he was exhausted. I could tell just from like he was working all day.
Oh, dude, but that conversation was off the rails. I love talking to him because it's like he comes. Yeah, I don't get to interact with people of that higher intellect for very often, so I have to kind of reach down and enter a different part of my intellect to just pull it in.
Yeah.
And it's one of the comments that I got on there was like, you don't say anything. It's like, well, there's so much information coming in and it's such a abrupt manner.
Yeah. First off, the audience, you should be listening to EM, not us. Like, come on. What are you talking about?
Oh, you just sat there and didn't say anything. I'm like, well, he takes off and he's like a rocket. He just accelerates.
Yeah.
It was mind blowing.
Yeah. People that have something to say tend to do that. So a lot of people, go ahead. Sorry.
Part of the thing is so I'm the producer and I do all the editing. And the cool thing I like about the people that you brought on is I don't have to like source verify everything. Because in the beginning, I wanted to make sure everything that we were putting out there was 100% correct. You know, I think one of the first people we interviewed was, and so that's the reason when we started, we were real careful about who we brought on. So, the first person we interviewed was your cousin, with Daniel, your cousin, my cousin. Mm-hmm. And then we brought Corey on as a guest and he's kind of hung around. And then,
well, he's running for office, so we got him. Like, if anything, we got his back.
That I never saw coming. The conversations that we've had with him have just enlightened him so much that he felt empowered to go and change things.
You also become outraged and you want to get in there and see like, how bad is this for myself? Like you need to see this for yourself to see how bad it is.
The closer we keep getting to the nucleus of just the local politics. It's just
that is the nucleus, by the way, but go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, like, we're not even talking about like big boy politics, like federal politics. We're talking just state, county, state. It's just
the scary thing about it, though, is the state and local and municipal level politics are all driven by geopolitics at this point. That's what's scary.
Well, especially down here. Things
everywhere,
that happen
dude, everywhere. It's global. This is globalization writ large. We're all local is international.
Dude,
go ahead.
Since Trump has taken over, I'm literally 35 miles from the Mexico border. The level of crime has gone through the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, this town's pretty rough still, and there's some areas in town you don't want to be in after dark.
I have a friend whose brother is in one of the cartels, and he's like he slings dope, drugs. I saw him about a couple months ago, and whenever I see him, I always ask him for a situation update from his realm, like what's going on. He's like, dude, they shut this thing down hard. I've never seen anything like it. Like it's crazy. Like people haven't really recovered on how to readjust to this new dynamic. We're just kind of, I feel like I think people are just kind of waiting and hoping that things go back to the way they were to get back to the old business models. But he's like, I don't know. They seem damn serious this time. During
when we were, so I didn't live down here during the first round of Trump. But we'd come down here and we were working on the border wall. You would still see people playing we call it human Frogger, the game Frogger, where you're trying to take the frog and go across the road and dodge the cars.
I've seen it myself.
Yeah, and you would drive down 375 loop down in El Paso, and people would be running across the interstate coming in from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And you would take what is that road? I keep thinking there's a road that parallels the border from Santa Teresa all the way across to Arizona. And you would drive down there through Columbus and keep going through, and you come, basically all the where all the tombstone legends and stuff was. That's all down in that area. The Wild West really happened down in there. Man, you don't see anybody. It's like a ghost town. You would look across the border and there'd be these places people would be held up. You could just see crowds of people standing down there when I was driving. They're empty. It's like a ghost town. They just know they're not getting in. So they've just gone home. And it's just, I didn't think that was going to be that severe. It's just, it's just impressive.
So back to lessons learned and things that we've seen. So yes, so those events have happened. We've seen them unfold. These events have been unfolding in real time. When I first came to you, I was not in a position where I felt that things were 100% for sure that they were going to, because we get so caught up in, and you're going to hear more and more people talk like this, but we get caught up in the material aspect of our reality, and we lose sight of the impulse behind our material, what you see happen in the material world, like motivations, why people do what they do, spiritual impulses, karma, consciousness, just to get all the woo-woo terms out in the forefront. But people have motivations to do things that they do. Even the most ardent materialists can agree to that.
Yeah. The thing that I find interesting as we keep going along is when you first talked, when you were on the phone and the state you're in when we first started this, it didn't make any sense. Couldn't connect everything. In the picture that you've drawn to the link to the to the Dutch and then the British, and it's kind of like you start to understand, because it's like, well, who is the they in this? What are they trying to do here?
That's what you kept asking me, and I've been trying to make that clear to you. But it's more complicated than just a nation state, even at this point. But go ahead.
Well,
sorry.
I always thought that, like, you think about it, and you're like, who's the ringleader behind this? There has to be a head guy. No, there doesn't. You don't need one central person pulling all the strings.
It's incentive structures, and it really is spirit is going to become more and more obvious, especially in the next 5 years, to people that still have a conscience and a soul. A lot of people don't at this point. A lot of people have divorced themselves from their willing, thinking, and feeling abilities.
Well, here, I have this thing that really sums it up. And it's interesting. It's from George Carlin, and we'll get it up here. This explains it. Here, well, we're gonna go like this. Tell me if you can. Here we go. You ready?
Created here in California, not as a result of a conspiracy, but
you
because...
don't need a formal conspiracy.
Right.
When interests converge, these people went to the same universities and fraternities, they're on the same boards of directors, they're on the same country clubs, they have like interests, they don't need to call a meeting, they know what's good for them, and they're getting it. And there used to be 7 oil companies, there are now 3, it will soon be 2. The things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties. There are a handful of insurance companies. There are about 6 or 7 information things. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors, because you have the illusion. You have the illusion of choice.
Right.
You don't get the real important choice. There's no freedom of choice.
That's a great point. Right.
So that sums it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he was dead on a lot of things. Yeah, I didn't like him for a long time because I thought he was just a pessimist about, like, I had a very naive Boy Scout mentality of how the world worked. I hadn't been screwed over by a bunch of people yet. I didn't see, like, because I never put myself in a position to be abused or used. I've never, like, why would I do that ever? Like, why would I put myself?
But your parents actually did a good job raising you, is why.
Well, yeah. Well, the very fact that I had parents that stick together, and I could see the insanity that they had to deal with and how they maneuvered through it together is very useful. Is a very useful education for people. Even if everyone does it imperfectly, every parent, no one's perfect, but seeing a man and a woman navigate insanity together imperfectly is a useful education. Because if you just have one parent, you just have one point of context. But if you have two, now you can triangulate things from different perspectives.
Yeah. Well, because you get the...
And from a male and female perspective, which are very valuable for a boy or girl to see. That's why it's important for men and women to get married and to have children, which is... Well, seems to be the way it's laid out. But...
Yeah, that's the heavenly example.
Well, we're the only ones that can reproduce. As much as they want to say that we can do test tube babies and all this, but okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, well,
but I reproduced in my living room, so I didn't need a doctor or a lab for that. Yeah. Well, this is my favorite room now. It's my tower.
It's all the stuff on the walls.
Right? It's my wizard tower. Keep my samurai swords, Egyptian plates, and Gnostic books.
So. Well, what do you think I got back here? I mean, it's not like I don't have got my exploding outhouse. I mean, I got all the good stuff back there.
I need my own space to have like my own place. I just need one room, and this is perfect.
I got like a corner.
Yeah.
Got a 1,600 square foot house, and
yeah. I mean, this will not be my room for long. I mean, it'll be my room for maybe the next 3 to 4 years, but as soon as I get a little boy.
Oh, so
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear you're still.
Oh yeah, no, of course. No, we're still. No, I don't. None of us. Me and my wife, we do not feel like we're done having children yet. As crazy as it sounds and feels, we're not. It's been incredible.
I don't know, man. There's something about. Sounds cliche, but when a woman that you are in love with is pregnant, there's a way they look.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
There's a glow, and there's a way they look.
They carry themselves differently. They're very peaceful there's a certain calmness that falls over them. It's very interesting. It's not there all the time, but compared to when they're not pregnant, my wife says this all the time. She's like, I love being pregnant. I just felt so at peace. There was like sickness and morning sickness and all that stuff, and all the physical pain and all that crap, but spiritually inside, she was like, I felt so like completed in those moments when I was pregnant. Because it's a part of the female spiritual journey to awakening is to be a mother. Men have a different path, but it leads to the same place, more or less. We just don't have a good rite of initiation for men. Go ahead.
My wife is such a great mom that the fact that you can, when she's pregnant, the energy that comes off of her is impressive. But pregnancy on her is really difficult. It literally wipes her out. She, that's the reason not that we don't want more children. It's just
no. My wife was exhausted and throwing. You would think she would hate it, but then she always goes like, "This is the best thing that ever happened to me." It wasn't about the discomfort. It was about the fulfillment within her. Like she could feel imagine having a life inside of you that wasn't you.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's crazy when you're sitting there and you're trying to you hold your wife's stomach and you feel the little kicking and the elbow, and you can feel like the head button, and it's like, and then the idea that a woman can feel that all the time it's an interesting concept.
It's a path of initiation towards seeing the spiritual world physically. They can feel their portals for life, for human consciousness to enter into this world. So, and I don't want to go on this tangent necessarily. I want to keep going. Let's stick to where we were.
Yeah, let's get back onto where we were at.
Yeah.
No, but
I mean, I would like to go down this road, but we started somewhere. I'm trying to stick to where we start. So,
I'm really good at just taking us down crazy tracks.
Yeah.
I've been going to
so lessons learned.
Well, it's just the okay. So yeah, when you do the research, you listen to the people that we brought on. They're not full of shit. You connect the dots, and then like when Colonel Towner came on, that's when it really came to, because she was talking about places I've been to and seen.
So can I throw something at you that I've noticed this pop up several times, and this is a bit of a candid moment between us, and it's not bad. It's something that I've noticed, and it's not unique to you, but most humans have a hard time seeing things unless they've experienced them themselves. And that's true of me too. I'm not saying it's not true of everybody, but some people have an imaginational capacity to put themselves in certain positions and kind of play it out in their mind. Everyone can do that. Just some people don't do it all the time.
Well,
and most people need a reference point. You know what I mean?
Well, I have friends of mine that think in colors. I have met people that say they think in numbers. And yes. I think in images. It's like video images.
And I think in narrative.
Yeah.
I think in words and meaning.
When she starts talking about this secret base up in the Rockies, I know exactly where that is. And so then it's just like a footprint in my mind, and you can put the image together, and it's like now you have all the characters and you have the set. But
it dispelled the cognitive where people are just talking and telling a story, and then you went back and relived, and like, I've set foot on this place. I know what you're talking about, and now whatever you say, I'm going to probably be more likely to believe you.
Well, no, because exactly.
Which can be dangerous, because just because somebody named a place that you've been doesn't mean that they're necessarily telling the truth.
But it's not just that she named the place.
I know. I brought her on for a reason. I don't think she's full of shit. She's amazing.
Well, it's because when I was at Camp Hill up in where they actually started the 10th Mountain Division, and then when it got decommissioned after World War II, if you talk to the locals who've lived there for a long time, they say, "Oh yeah, the CIA took that base over." And when she started talking about the CIA base in Colorado in the early 50s, I knew exactly what she was talking about because I'd been there. I'd walked. No,
that's very weird that she brought that up for that episode. That was very strange.
I was like, what the?
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah, that's one of those synchronistic moments that I think was important to make this real for you, because it's very real for me, but to make this whole thing, whatever it is, real for other people, they need their own touchstones. Like a thing they can be like, put hands on and touch grass and be like, this isn't just some idea. I've personally experienced a fraction of this that gives me at least some reference point in my material existence.
Well, the problem I have is I've done a lot of stuff, and I've done a lot of government projects through my work and the stuff we've done. But you don't want to know. You don't want to know. But you see things, and then when they connect when they connect them all together, and you start thinking about more and more things, and going back further and further, and you start getting all the other stuff you've worked on. You mesh it all together. It's just
What if
it
I've
went
been a
from
part
being a
of?
crackpot theory to like, oh crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that goes for every single serviceman that's ever served for the United States military.
And I'm not saying
all the way back to the beginning, to be honest. And it's that being said, and let me be very clear about this because I don't want people to misconstrue the two people that may hear this. I hold our servicemen in the highest regard, in the sense that they have, whether it's they don't understand what they're being a part of or what, it doesn't matter. They are willing to put themselves out there, and obviously a bunch of them are kids and all that stuff, but we're in a tough situation where I can't see myself recommending that my children go into the military. I would love for them to. I think the military has a lot to offer in terms of, just toughening people up, making them capable, confident, savvy, and a skill set. I mean, it's an amazing asset to pull on, but at the same time, if you're serving something that is not in the control of even what we call the president or the Congress or anything, then who's controlling this apparatus that I'm sending my kid to go off and be a part of? It's like the school system. It's like, who actually runs this? Well, I've dealt with the people who actually run it, and they're insane psychotics that I wouldn't trust to make me a sandwich.
Oh, dude,
let alone giving them my children. They're not, and it's only going to get worse over time. Like, it's not, and that's not me being a negative Nancy about it. I'm saying I keep asking people, how is the school system going to get better? How? Under the current, because people haven't looked at it from do you know what I mean by systems analysis? Like, you're a logistics guy. You understand you need product A to get to point B, and then this thing needs to happen, and you need energy transference all along the way. It's not like we snap our fingers and we get the result that we want. A lot of little things have to happen along the way a lot of them are self-organized.
Well, yeah.
I'm specifically I went all over the place there. So I started with, I ended with education, but I was also talking about our kids going into the military. As much as I admire and respect our servicemen and women, I really do. And it's not their fault. I hate seeing their sacrifice and their bodies being used.
Well, but that's the nature
for insanity.
Well, if I look back at the history of my family being in England, that's what the poor have been used for millennium. Is they go out and fight the rich men's war.
Yeah,
it's just the rich don't have to, and that sounds very communistic speech, like the bourgeoisie and all that other crap. But
this is where EM in his whole notion of princes comes in. Is that wasn't always the case. There was a time where the princes of the land or the king or the baron would send his oldest son to be at the forefront of the army to ride in and to do, because you wouldn't have the loyalty of the people otherwise. It wasn't like it was honor, but it was really out of pragmatism. It's like, look, you want these guys to go fight and die for you? You're going to have to put your firstborn son up as a sacrifice.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, that's the reason
we don't have that anymore.
Well, that's the reason the royal family over in England right now, like Prince William, he went and was in the military.
They all were. Yeah, they had to, because that was the tradition. You have to do that.
Yeah.
And it's all optics. Remember that famous
it's all
scene
because
of
they want the uniform and they want the medals and all the other stuff.
Well, they need the story and the legend of them being heroic, capable, strong men, capable of fulfilling their position and fulfilling their duty that they were born into. They have to prove themselves, like a rite of passage. Like, remember that there was that scene, that news feed, like Harry was being interviewed, and then all of a sudden a siren blared and he ran off to his helicopter and flew off.
Well, that was all, staged.
Obviously staged, but that's what I'm talking about. They staged it for a reason. It mattered.
Yeah. Like the Queen had her young or grandchildren on the line, she was putting it out there for it.
Yeah. EM would take it to another level that these royals are not, obviously, first off, the world's so complicated. The idea that a single group is organizing all of this together in concert is too much for me. Unless, the only way I would make an exception would be in the spirit world, which I'd be willing to go there, but I'm not sure we're ready to go there quite yet. And by the way, when I bring that up, I'm dead serious about it. I'm not. It's very real. And it's
that's
something
the thing too that we've gotten some questions on is our spirituality. Are we atheists? Are we Christians? It's like, well, I would say we're not atheists.
Who's been asking that?
Oh, you filter the messages. I mean,
is it like family or?
Oh, no, they're emails that they send to the YouTube channel.
Well,
because
it's hard to put into language. You know how Christians say you got to have a personal relationship with your Lord and Savior?
Yeah.
Well, I would highly suggest everybody do that and have it be very personal, and don't listen to anyone telling you what that is supposed to look like unless you want to and you're ready to take it in. Meaning, listen to other people, but don't go looking for a guru or a teacher. Go to your heart, listen to your conscience.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the divine speak within you of what is right and wrong first before you listen to me or anyone else, period. And then we can talk about religion after you've done that. If you go there, we'll have a good time. But most religious people don't go there. That's been my lesson.
Problem I have is religion and faith are two different things.
100%.
And I believe in God. I've seen my life go to crap every time I try to not walk a Christian path. The problem I have is organized religion.
And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse.
I think the problem is that it's just the people. And I think it's a me problem. I don't think it's them. They're doing what they think is right. But
yeah, it's not the people. I don't want to go to church, not because I don't like them. I like the people there. I think most people go there for more or less the right reasons. I have no animosity towards people looking for answers or looking for stability in a crazy world. Some humans are going to have to go to these organized places to find some stasis because they don't have the capacity to go deeper.
Yeah.
And they just have to go. It's basically daycare for spiritual children.
Oh, it's not that.
Yeah, it pretty much is, unfortunately.
No, it's not daycare because daycare is where you drop kids off so you can go do other things.
That's one way of looking at it, but I'm basically saying that you as an adult are saying, I'm going to go to this place, live under this structure to hear about the divine from their perspective, and then I'll replicate that perspective into my life so I don't have to take any personal responsibility for my relationship with the divine. That's what's starting to happen. It's what's starting to happen. We don't have to argue about it. I'm just telling you, over the next 5 years, it's going to become extremely clear that's what's going on.
I think there are a lot of people out there that are like me and you that just want to find, they know that there is something more into their lives and they want to find the answer.
Okay. Yes, that's different. People go to church and some people have not been introduced to the Bible, which people should read the Bible. I'm not against reading the Bible, but then they get into a problem where, well, everything in the Bible is the word of God, but it's interpreted through the preacher in front of you, like interpreting an ancient language and in their intention and all this stuff. Now, this is where it really matters. Your conscience should be the thing. God did give us a law, but the law isn't in a book. It's not written down in words. It's written in your heart. It has to be, because the language, I wish it was in a book. And the Bible's pretty damn close. It's close. And there's a lot, and it's 99%, it's almost all good stuff. It's an insanely dense tome. I'm not anti-Bible. Everyone should read it. It's going to be a part of my children's early homeschooling curriculum. They're going to be exposed
right here all the time.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, I am not a anti-Christian. I am a Christian, but not in the sense of how people would describe it, because once I start telling people like, well, what do you mean you're a Christian? It's like, do you declare Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior? And then I ask them, what does that mean to you? And then they freeze up because they don't know.
Well, the thing that people don't go that deep.
That's my point.
Yeah. People aren't that deep. They don't go that deep. They're not thinking in that realm.
Yeah.
And to say that, there is a joy that comes to your life when you find the Christian path and you've lived in the wilderness and you've not known, and that's a figurative wilderness, not necessarily.
Compared to atheism and nihilism, it is clean water and fresh air like you've never breathed before. 100, I totally agree with you.
My jealousy in life, if I had to have one, is you meet these baby Christians that are coming into the faith and their enthusiasm is just amazing. There's not a lot of cynicism there. They're very enthusiastic. They're very gung ho. Let's go get this. They find something that piece that's been missing in it, and it's I envy them quite a bit.
Well, it gives them validation to be good people, to live what their hearts desire, which is to be an honest, upright, courageous, structured person. My problem with the Christian church is they are denying that from people as of COVID, blatantly.
Be more specific.
They went along with having their churches shut down over something like that. Told me a lot. We've talked about this
the problem
countless
I have
times.
Right there. Exactly.
That's the problem, is you guys just showed your hand that you're a business and you're not interested in the investment of souls. You've just proved it. Sorry, that's what it is.
So like, I don't know if you noticed, one of my things, I love history. I'm a history buff. The thing I like about southern New Mexico is you can go see the POW camps that were here. And you can walk and you can feel the energy coming off of how bad it was and stuff, So you can kind of get in touch with that World War II thing. And I've read the book. It is a long read. It's the complete history of the Third Reich. It's like something like 65 hours if you listen to the audiobook.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I started looking into, there's a podcast out there. So we grew up in the Seventh Adventist religion. And one of the things I kept hearing in the history is how all the religions that were in Europe, they always thought it was not going to be them that was going to get crucified by the Nazis. And when you look at what the Adventist Church did during World War II in Germany, they put Hitler's picture up on the walls. They went along to get along. They didn't want to upset the turnip cart. And I read that book in like 2011. Not even 10 years later, 9 years later, here COVID-19 comes in. And you grow up in a church that your whole life they're singing the onward Christian soldiers, and they're talking about like when the ends of times come, are you going to be one that's going to stand up, or are you going to one that's going to hide, and all this power Christian thing.
I was more hardcore Seventh Adventist than most Seventh Adventists. I think I took this very seriously. I'm like, this is the end of the world. They're trying to like inject us with a bunch of stuff. They're trying to lie. Like they're clearly lying about all of this. None of it's
because it didn't make any sense. It has to be a lie.
No, even by their own logic of how science works, which I was pre-med. I took organic chem. I'm not an idiot. I'm been exposed. I shadowed under surgeons. I've been around the medical field enough to understand the basics. And this was flat out based on just pure conjecture at best, and made up numbers and models and algorithms that came right out of Britain that we just went off of, and we never double checked, and we don't have to relitigate all that stuff. People, you've noticed how people have gotten quiet over COVID.
Yeah.
Because they all realize how insane it all was, and everyone's trying to pretend that they weren't all crazy. Well, guess what? We remember, all right? You made our lives a living hell for years because you were insane. And you wouldn't say no.
And so
I'm so a little pissed off about that, folks. But sorry, I'll get over it.
Tell. I did notice you being upset. No, I did notice you were upset at all.
I'm a little PO'd about that one.
Wound up, yeah. Still, yeah.
No, I'm not wound up. I'm just like, don't talk to me about you being not you, but like people that are like, well, you don't go to church, you're not a good person. I'm like, all the churches were willing to sacrifice your life for their business model. All of them.
That's what I was getting to. Is so you saw the Adventist church. So like during that time, my parents decided that they were finally going to inter my sister's ashes.
Mm-hmm.
So we had her cremated, and we put her in the whatever that thing's called. I can't remember the name. Decided to inter my sister's ashes because it felt kind of tacky to have the dog's ashes next to my sister. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So we
sure. Well, first off, don't bury your dog. Just note to people out there, just let it go. Be okay. Sorry, go ahead.
You're talking to the choir, man. We just
I
had
understand.
a cat
I
pass
understand.
away.
I
We
understand.
just spent like
Sorry.
$400 on cremation for a cat. It was
cats are even worse. Wow.
Oh, I know.
All right.
But anyways, so we had my sister interred, and the thing that kept me going during that whole entire time is, it's nothing makes you feel more just totally excited about what you're doing when you get the letter from your governor. And you probably didn't get this, but saying that congratulations, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but congratulations, you're an essential employee. And if you I had this letter that would let me through roadblocks if they were going to, so I could get into places. And I'm like, what kind of crap is this? But the thing that kept me going is like the faith. God will protect me. That's the whole reason that I had a good experience driving truck, is my faith.
Yes.
And, God's going to take me when he wants, kind of thing. And when the pastor we asked the pastor, I couldn't make it. Well, my dad asked the pastor to come and say a few words when we interred my sister's remains, or the ashes. And this man had got in front of my parents and told them that, live like a good Christian, go out there, meet the world. It's too afraid to come out. And this is before they had even had the shutdowns. They were talking of rumors of shutdowns.
Mm-hmm.
This is in like early March of 2020. And he wouldn't come out because he was afraid. And it's like, well, you're the pastor. You don't even have faith. You don't have faith in God, and you're the pastor.
It's not even faith. It's like you want to be a spiritual leader and you're this dense that you can't even look at, because this is not hard. This wasn't a hard IQ test to pass. This was pretty easy. It was all peer pressure. The whole thing was peer pressure.
Yeah, dude.
It had zero to do with facts, anything, and we all know it. That's why everyone's quiet about it, because they know they all failed the test. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to rub their noses in it till the day I die.
Dude, the thing that was positive that came out of it, two things. You found the churches that you actually belonged in, because the pastors and the congregation that fought back against that shit, that's the people you want to go to.
There were very few.
Dude, there were
not many.
3 mega churches. No, 2 mega churches in Albuquerque that did it. And now they're so fed up with the government that those 2 churches in Albuquerque are putting up their own political candidates now.
That's what I've been begging for forever. Yeah. It's like, yes, like 100%.
And it's like when in our history, I'm 44 years old. And when in my history has the endorsement of the church, a church in the city, and that endorses them. You never sought a church's endorsement. And it's just like, dude, this is nuts. And then down here, part of the reason I never looked for a church here in Las Cruces is because they were all closed when I moved down here. I moved down here in early 21, like January of 21.
Yeah, I really think house churches are going to be the way of the future going forward. It's the reality of the
small group,
of the material world is going to get way too complicated that not everybody is going to be able to, like I would say people over the age of 40, maybe 35, 34, 30s even, they're going to have a hard time when you're in your 30s, you can still readjust to reality to some degree. Most people at a certain age, once they find a steady career and a pattern of life, they tend to just stay static and just stay there until the day they die.
Well, yeah, you get comfortable with the routine.
Well, and then also survivalism kicks in, and you're just trying to some people are just trying to keep their head above the water, and then the people that find their nest egg, like their path forward to retirement and death, then yeah, they just, go along with it because that's the meal ticket.
Well, yeah, I know. The idea that I've spent like 30 years, I started working when I was 13, and I started putting money away in my 401k, and you're like, yeah, I only got like $35,000, which is a horrible amount for someone my age. The idea of risking it because it took so long to make it, you're like, you're not really risk averse anymore because, it's so hard to save that kind of money. You're not going to go out like you would in your 20s and try to put your ass on the line and try to find something new and great.
Yeah, time becomes a lot more valuable when you get older.
Well, that's the reason too. They say like guys in their 40s and their 50s are more likely to file for divorce than they are in their 20s and 30s.
When the midlife crisis kicks in and they're like, oh my God, I made a horrible mistake.
It's not a midlife crisis. It's like, how many more years do I want to put up with this shit?
That's what I mean. That's what it's called. I'm not saying it's a crime, but it's like some people, and I agree that some men need to get divorced. I'm like, I am not, especially like once the kids are like grown to a certain degree, it's like a lot of men need to just get out of their relationships with their crazy wives. Like, I'm totally fine with that. I don't like divorce. I think it'd be better for men to just, but some women are just inconsolable. They're not capable. My wife, thank God, is not one of them, or else I wouldn't be saying this. I'd be lying straight to your face. But
my wife.
Sorry.
The more older I get, I realize more of the problems that I've had with my wife are not her.
Yes.
Me.
Yes, correct. Yeah, they're a mirror, and they reflect yourself back to them.
Well, they don't. You don't like what they're saying because they're saying the truth, and
Right.
they're telling you what you need to hear instead of what you want to hear.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about women that are just straight up sociopaths that lie, cheat, and steal, and twist the truth to whatever ends, and will never, ever reconcile that or be like, okay, here's what reality is. Have baseline reality with you. Women that are just in fantasy land, and there's many, many of those out there. But it's
What is that book? I read this book a while back called the Narcissistic Woman.
I mean, men are capable of being narcissists, and many are, but a lot of men just don't have time to even think about being a narcissist.
No, I'm not saying anyone has the capacity.
Yeah. But I'm saying
that so
women at home, when they get bored and they nanny their kids out and they don't have to do anything, they start going kind of crazy.
Yeah, like those Desperate Housewives.
Exactly. And they all watch that show for a reason. It resonates.
Oh, dude, I cannot stand. It's like
it's disgusting.
These chicks are going off. These girls are going off about the horrors
and it's all
of this
obviously fake. But it's like, why are it's like at least watch professional wrestling. You know.
Well, you are watching professional wrestling.
It is, but it's dumb and gay. Like it's just.
And so is professional wrestling.
It's a little. I mean, it's still dumb and gay, but it's at least ridiculous and absurd enough that you can, you realize you're still watching a show. A lot of these people watch these shows and they replicate it in their own personal lives.
Oh, dude, it's like the idea. My daughter asked me the other day, she's like, how come I talk to my friends and their houses are all so chaotic? I'm like, because people thrive on drama.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, how come our house doesn't do that? Because I don't thrive on drama. I don't want it. I don't need it. And if it comes here, go find it somewhere else. We're stocked up.
Amen. Absolutely.
That's my favorite line out of what is it? The Good as It Gets. When he sits there, when the lady's sitting there, she's going off about, can you take care of this guy? And he's like, yeah, I'll take care of it. And she goes off on I forget it. And he goes, sell crazy somewhere else. We're all stocked up here. It's like,
yeah.
And then the other thing is when that lady walks up to him, and he's at the publisher, he writes books. She goes, how do you get into here so well? It's like you go from here and here and here. And he goes, how do you write women so well? And he goes, I think of a man and remove accountability and responsibility, and I get a woman.
Like Jack Nichols. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Jack Nichols.
Helen Hunt was hot in that movie too.
So,
but we got off topic. I apologize.
No, it's okay. No, we're on topic. We're good.
No, but so it's like you have all these distractions. It's like that is the modern day version of the Colosseum. Why did Caesar have the Colosseum and the circus and all these buildings? Is to distract the populace.
Number of reasons is one, to show the grandeur of the system, to show how powerful it is, that we can get people to sit in this arena, like to come to this arena and fight to the death against reptiles, lions, and men, and recreate. We can do that, and then you, the populace, sit there and watch it, and you get to enjoy your entertainment off of it. But it's also let us show you how powerful we are by putting on this show.
Well, that's the same thing the government does now.
They always do this. Every single one throughout human history.
Exactly.
There's not a single exception. So why do we think that's not happening now? Well, the reason
it's
we
like-
don't think that is because people don't know that's what's happened before.
Well, that's what they don't know that that's what they're doing.
I know, but I'm saying that people don't know, like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah, we're
people
saying the
don't know
same thing in a
history. They don't they have no context. It's like when you listen to the commentariat talk, like the more common people what's more in the mainstream, they think history started at World War II, and that's if we're lucky, you know. They don't go back to anything before that. They don't go to World War I. They don't go to the Spanish-American War. They don't go to the Russo-Japanese War. They don't go to the Crimean War. They don't go to the Civil War of England. They don't go to any of the Napoleonic Wars. They don't talk about any, like, I'm just talking about wars. There's a bunch of other things that happen in between there, but they don't talk about it. One, because we have an attention span and we want to be immediately fed on what's happening here and now. So it makes sense why this has happened. It's just frustrating that we're kind of trapped in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's it just, yeah.
Because it's like if people just understood a little bit more, a little bit, not even a whole lot, just it'd be like, okay, this would all be over. Like they wouldn't be able to pull this crap off on us anymore. But I think that is happening, and that's why I've become also a lot more calm. I was at a point where I was like, I don't think humanity. I think we may have to. I got black pilled. I got into the doom cycle of. I don't think humans are capable of pulling up out of this nosedive.
Well, I could show you exactly also why. What a lot of people believe in history here in the United States. Here, let me show you this. This is my favorite quote. Here, right here.
And I will spend the day getting to know London's history.
History began on July 4th, 1776. Everything before that was a mistake.
And I will spend the day getting to know.
Yeah, so yeah.
Don't fully agree with that, but more or less, yeah. I'm good with that.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's a lot of the way people look at history.
Yeah. No, it's a good example. But, and it's also,
it's
people just don't see how it's relevant to their everyday lives. I didn't either. I looked at that stuff because I was just authentically interested. I just thought it was very interesting. But now it's like, what they did, they shut down our businesses. They told us what we could say, what articles of clothing we had to wear, how we had to behave in public. All
if you
like
didn't wear your
that.
mask, you were shunned.
And it's like, okay, why did that happen? Well, you're going to have to go back and backtrack the power structure and reverse engineer the whole thing to figure out how it all happened. And my annoyance that I have is not enough people have done the work to see how it actually happened, or to give it at least a good faith effort. You know, it's like, I'm not God. I don't know everything, you know, like none of us are. But let's at least try, you know, let's at least try to understand why this happened.
Well, the thing that sucks when you start looking into history, you're not going to like what you find. And that's what people don't want to do. They don't want to find things they don't like.
Exactly.
Like, I remember I was listening to Hillary Clinton talk. She says, I'm a proud recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award. I go, who's this Margaret? I keep hearing about this Margaret Sanger chick. Who the hell? So I look her up and I'm just like, holy crap. Margaret Sanger was one of the most racist people ever to live.
First off, I will say, I agree with Jesse Lee Peterson that racism is not real.
Okay.
I don't think it's real. I don't think I'm not saying that people aren't mean to each other or prejudiced against whatever reason, but as an institution, racism is a thought construct that people have manifested.
Well,
it's not not real. It's an idea.
Well, it's just like the concept of fair. It's not real. can't exist, never will exist.
Well,
There is no such thing as it.
There is equilibrium in the universe, but if you're expecting fairness, yes, 100%. No, that's not.
No. The idea of fair is flawed. And the idea that someone thought that something should be fair is how you get communism.
If you're looking at the material world, 100%, I agree with you. If you're looking at the spiritual world, everybody gets their dues. Everybody.
Yeah.
No one gets away with anything.
That's not fair. That
is
totally
very
else.
fair. It's the ultimate fairness. It's like you don't get away with anything.
Yeah, but my daughter comes up to me. She tells me all the time. She's like, well, that isn't fair. And I'm like, I tell her, fair is a flawed concept. We don't talk about flawed concepts around here. But I've been in the South about 20 years ago, and I've come across some people that were like some real Klan members down there, like some skinheads and stuff. And so, I mean, the idea that I think racism is a made up concept that people take very seriously.
It's understandable how it arose out of just,
but it's envyism. It's envy.
Well, yes, resentment is always the thing, or fear in any, but the problem is we've allowed resentfuls to define the term called racism.
Well,
we've allowed our enemies to define the terms of battle. That's the first mistake. They should have never been given authority to define terms. They're resentfuls. They're going to make everything sound horrible. They're never going to see the silver lining in anything. They're not going to ever look at, slavery is bad, but look at what happened and, the good story.
The thing that gets me is in the United States, when you say slavery, they want you to think of black people. There was more than just black people that were in slavery.
Oh,
in
yeah.
This country.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
And that's the thing that gets me. It's like, I will.
And it was a global institution. It was certainly not just the United. It was everywhere, all over the world. That's the problem, though. People don't understand. Like, that's true. You're right. We're taught in school like American history back to slavery, and then that's all we're taught about the Civil War. Like, we're not taught about anything else. We're not talking about the financing, about who financed it, who was the money backers behind it, why did it actually happen at a geopolitical level. It's just slavery. That's retarded. That's literally stupid. That is not to say slavery had a large part to do with it. It did.
Well, that's the reason why do you think we went to war with the Muslims down there in, the song, To the Shores of Tripoli, the pirates, I forget what they were called, but we went to,
the Barbary pirates.
Yeah,
Barbary pirate. Yeah, but that was an insurgency of European powers. That wasn't even pirates. They were all backed by Europeans. That was a proxy war. Sound familiar?
Yeah, but I understand, but
go with your original premise. Yeah.
They were the Barbary pirates were doing commerce raiding. Is the best way you could describe it. They would take over the ships and they would enslave the crews, and I'm pretty sure that there was a lot of white folks that got put into Muslim slavery. And if you talk about Africa, there's still slavery down there. There's still tons of slavery. Even now, there's more people enslaved now than there was ever in the whole history of the United States. Slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that, it's a victim mentality that they're pushing, that they're trying to get these people to hate each other because of the pigment or of their skin. And it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, and anyone with like any sense of awareness understands that skin pigment matters very little to one's ability to be a human.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Duh. Like, that's not
I
hard.
typed in white slavery, and it brings up the Barbary pirates right here.
Yeah, no, it's between
it's 1 and 1.25, 1.125 million Europeans were captured by the Barbary pirates.
It's an argument I don't even really
into
get into because it's so stupid on its face. Like, it's just, you're dealing with crazy people that want to make an argument instead of like actually come close to the truth. And no, it's ridiculous. Now, that doesn't mean that we divorce and say, oh yeah, blacks in America were treated like, oh, like wonderful, like everything was great. No, it was obviously horribly messy, and there were bad thing, but it doesn't matter. I don't even like, that's the problem. We get sucked into this conversation and we're talking about the Civil War when there's bigger things that were afoot during that, way bigger than slavery. Slavery was a footnote as far as I'm concerned in the Civil War. It was a major footnote, but not the main driver, not even close. That was an attempt to break up the United States of America by European powers.
There was a lot of things there, and that's one of them too. Yeah. But the thing is that gets me is when people try to justify.
And we just lived through another one, by the way. They're still trying to break us up.
Oh yeah,
we're going through it now. But go ahead. Sorry.
Someone was trying to tell me that the South wanting to leave the United States wasn't slavery or any other stuff. But when you read the Confederate Constitution, it's there.
No, yeah, it wasn't. I mean, slavery was a part of it because it was like, okay, because it came down to property rights, because the slaves at the time were on the balance sheet of slave owners. And they were a major part of the industrialization of the South, but that was not the major impetus for the Civil War. It was there as a cultural impetus.
It was in the mix, but there
was big money behind it. Big money.
Well, the problem that people forget is there was a government model before the federal model that came around 1791.
Yeah, Ian was talking about this last time we had him on.
Yeah. And we were a confederacy before we were a federal government.
They agreed to the Articles of Confederacy instead of centralizing governance. I agree.
But it didn't work, so that's the reason they came up with federalism.
And that's my argument with EM. He's like, and I'm not sure where he sits on this. I don't see how in the global world that we can operate outside of a federal government. And I hate to say that because I hate the federal government, but at the same time, it's like I don't know anyone that's say they're anti-federalist that doesn't agree that we need a collective defense state. The problem with that is once you have a collective defense state, you now have a collective intelligence state. And what does intelligence do? It tells you what's real and what isn't.
Yeah, it can tell you that your lying eyes aren't seeing that.
Exactly. So who runs the intelligence state that's what we're sorting out now. We're trying to figure out who actually runs this country. That's what we're in the process of discovering, in my opinion. Not even I think that's so self-evident at this point. It's like ridiculous. Like there is a faction in this country trying to smoke out subversives to a more autonomous sovereign state. Because think of it this way, and EM talks about this all the time. It's like if you're a baron or a local landowner or somebody with a lot of assets, you want to protect your assets. Well, how do you do that? Well, 99% of the time, it's go along with the powers that be that are under control of your situation. Make deals, But what happens when they decide to strip you down no matter what you do or say and offshore your assets to another entity that they can control more effectively. And then you're just left in the dust, penniless. That's what the American Revolution, that's how it really started. And that's what the Civil War was really about. It was about asset forfeiture going to other entities and and people losing their wealth. The princes and the oligarchs losing their wealth. There were not that many slaveholders in the South compared to those who actually fought.
Okay.
They were the landed gentry. They were afraid of losing their assets. And it wasn't just their slaves, it was productivity, which obviously involves slaves 100%. But that's what it always comes down to is productivity. Are you going to take my stuff away from me? That's really what wars and these geopolitical shifts, that's why that all happens. And EM's argument is that if you want to keep your wealth, you need to be tied to the land and tied to the people around you so that when the shit hits the fan, the people will come to your defense and aid when it's needed. Because this idea, the arrogance of the administrative state as we live under is they are totally divorced from the land. They're intranationalists. They don't live in any one place. And they just think they're masters of the universe, and they think they're protected because they have access to the networks that control the money and military force. And they've neglected the populace, and they think they can just keep psyoping us into resentful revolutions like communist revolutions that the City of London always perpetuates and bankrolls every single time as a fake revolution to basically control the population. Like, here's your fake alternative. That's what the Democrat Party is today. All these millionaires and all, like Bernie Sanders, the billionaires, they're taking everything. Well, he's a millionaire telling you that they're all taking everything. It's like, well, how about you give all your money up to the poor for the cause, Bernie? Like,
well, I do find it interesting that, I'm not going to sit here and say I was a fanboy of Lindsey Graham. And, and I'm sorry to see him pass away. But
but go
I'm
ahead.
sorry that anyone passes away like that, unexpectedly. I don't think he should have been in politics, but
he's getting one hell of a life review right now. Let's just go with that. He'll be all right. Lindsey's still with us.
What I'm getting at is you look at Lindsey Graham, and when he left, he'd been in politics 30 years. I don't know exactly how, but pretty long time he's been around.
Probably, yeah, I think about 30. Yeah, I don't know.
And I looked up his net asset wealth. He was worth $1.4 million.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about that. I don't know, because look, here's the thing with all these guys is I don't know how many layers of games anyone is playing. And also there's a thing called blind trusts. Do you know what those are?
Blind trusts?
A blind trust, yeah.
Oh yeah, where you put it, yeah.
EM talked about it. Basically, it's off the ledgers. Like, you don't see it. It's not accounted for, part of your assets.
So you're saying maybe he was better at hiding the money?
It's not even hard. I could get a Swiss bank account if I really want. Well, not really. Not a Swiss one.
You don't have enough money.
No, not a Swiss one. But I could get a bank account in the Caymans. If I really wanted to, I could. This stuff is fairly accessible for the population, and they kind of want it that way because it becomes this just giant milieu of hidden money. We don't really know what and who owns what on the face of the planet right now. Not really. There's some people that probably have a good idea of who actually owns it, but it's not us. And that's this gatekeeper class that we keep running into because they have access to the rights, the deeds, the assets, who actually owns what and how and why and what's the legitimacy for it. We have a serious problem. We don't even know what things cost anymore. We don't have any idea. Like, I mean, energy costs, yes, that's a good metric because it's here in the moment. But what energy could cost, we have no idea.
Well,
because everything is limited and controlled.
Yeah.
So went off on a tangent there, but you were talking about Lindsey Graham, and you were saying because at least he wasn't corrupt. I've seen those stories.
I didn't say he
around.
wasn't corrupt. I didn't. I can't.
No, you didn't say that. I apologize. You're right. You did not say that.
I'm saying is I find it interesting that when you look up his assets that he had on the books, at least the appearances that he had 1.4 million, and you look at Bernie Sanders, who once says that there shouldn't be millionaires and billionaires. We need to give all the money, tax the rich, tax the rich.
Well,
he's worth like four.
Lindsey had better access to certain networks than Bernie Sanders probably does, but it's still very possible that he was a good, honest broker and lived out what he believed. I can buy that. He was an old guy, an old gay man from South Carolina that,
you know, he was gay.
Like that's an open secret in Washington. That's not even like,
but allegedly
look,
gay.
I'll put that on me. I, Colin Klein, am accusing the ghost of Lindsey Graham as being gay. Yes.
Okay.
So I'll take that one to my that's fine. He can sue me. He knows where to find me. So, no, I don't know for sure it's 100% fact, but that's like, I mean, at this point, it's like as understood as, Hoover, not Hoover.
Oh yeah. J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover being gay. Yeah. No, I mean, there's actually been some guys that have come forward and talked about it, but it's hard to verify these things because, like, how do you verify it? Do you have a recording? It's like, probably not. So it's like people just get to accuse other people of these things. And if you have legal cover, it is really hard to prove rape. It's very difficult.
Well,
and forget about rape. I'm not even saying he raped anybody. I'm just saying, like, if he was into male prostitutes, that's really hard to prove.
I think we're getting off the topic here.
No, I'm down to go down this about the,
I don't really want to, though.
All right, well, you push. All right.
No, I'm just saying that you look at the preponderance is that, you have Bernie Sanders coming up and talking about how great socialism is, and he's just making a ton of money off of capitalism. Oh, it's just.
Yeah, it's a little silly, but he also probably has the best chance of running for president for the Democratic Party as of right now. I actually think that may be in the cards for the next cycle.
If
he's getting pretty old though, so who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, my bet
Gavin
has
Newsom's
always
Gavin Newsom's definitely going to have a problem running.
It's not going to work. They threw us some test flights. It's not going to work. No, it's impossible.
For him or
Kamala's trying. They're all trying. They're running into this problem. They were hoping to run the clock out, and they're running out of time. Now they're the ones that are running out of time.
What do you mean?
I've been saying this for about 6 years. The Democrat Party is going to go the way of the Whigs. It will not exist in the near future. I'm not willing to put a timeline on when exactly it's going to happen. I don't know. All I can see is they have metaphysically committed suicide. They cannot be trusted by any sound-minded person ever again. And I'm not saying the Republicans are trustworthy, but they're better liars than these people are. They're not even lying at this point. They're just straight up insane, and they're betting that the majority of the population is as crazy and unhinged as they are, as what they're putting forward. Because the higher ups that run the DNC, they don't believe in any of this shit. They're just trying to control people and get power.
Well, that's the thing that gets me about them is just like, they don't care what they have to do. They just want to stay in power.
Yeah, it's war. And they're materialists. They don't believe in any like metaphysical good or bad or ramifications for action. They don't believe in any of that stuff at all, not even a little bit. They're total mercenaries, cold-blooded assassins. I respect the Democratic Party. I respect them a hell of a lot more than I do the Republicans. They are vicious, violent, crazy, but focused people, and they're worthy of respect. The Republicans are the most ridiculous hodgepodge bunch of old, insane men that think commercials are going to win you elections.
The thing that gets me about the Democrats is how lockstep they got their messaging down. And, you look at the Republicans and they're they're all over the place.
Yeah. No, it's easy for people that don't believe in anything to just say, look at the bad guys.
Yeah.
Well, no, they like their whole party is built on anti-Trump, anti-right, right-wing. Look, we're not these guys. Look how crazy they are. They're saying all these crazy things. They're against the blacks. They're against the gays. They're doing all this other stuff. And they're trying to bait us into those conversations so that they can fight us on their ground and be like, you're against these people because you don't believe in equal rights. It's like, look, we're trying to get the budget balanced and we're trying to get all this other stuff under control. And when's the last time you guys ever talked about the budget or fraud?
Well, it's really hard
or military conquest. Like
it's really interesting when you're trying to talk about all this, self-righteous things. And when you're basically using your party platform as graft. So that way, you don't believe in global warming. You're only doing it because it's a better way to steal money. You don't believe in social injustice. You just want these people to get you in power so that they can use the government as, I like did you see that episode? You weren't there when Chris King came on the second time, were you? Or Crane?
No.
When he was saying his theory is the Democrats are basically political, politics in New Mexico is basically political, money laundering,
Yes.
And the more you think about it, every time we get in there and we start cleaning stuff up, they get real mad because they, USAID and you do all this stuff and, now they're mad because they're losing their money source.
Let's be very clear about that. Did we do that or did the faction backing Trump do that? Look, I don't think Trump could do what he did without the backing of the American people as much as he had. Like, I don't think I do think that the work that everyday people put in mattered in creating the conditions for him to do what he's doing now. That being said, when it comes to local politics or even state level, it 100% comes down to money. Almost every time. I know people try to say that it doesn't. It does. It just, any political strategist, anybody in that world will tell you, crafting a story and marketing, that's the easy part. It's the money. It's always the money. Obviously. Like, I don't know why this is a shock to people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it is to you. I know you understand this. I'm just saying, like,
no, yeah.
I knew this when I was 10, and it's like I'm seeing adults wake up to this now, and I'm like, Jesus, like, we got some work to do, folks. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like people watch fairy tales so long they believe Fox News is another fairy tale, and they just listen. It's not even Fox. It's just, I mean, it really comes down to people are just overwhelmed and exhausted, and we're entering into an accelerator. Like, events are going to happen so quickly now faster than they've ever happened in human history. You're going to have decades take place within a year, and it's only going to get faster. That very few humans are going to be able to keep up with all this, and a lot of humans are going to just crash out, basically.
Yeah.
And God bless the boomers, but I don't think most of them are equipped for this.
Well, you know, we've got a lot of hate for our criticism of the boomers.
I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying a fact. You guys lived in a different world than we did, and you know what you know. That's it. It's not your fault. It's what happened. And you guys hold all the wealth and make all the decisions, and you think things are a lot more simple than they actually are. They're extraordinarily complicated.
Yeah.
And I would love for the boomers to find some humility to reevaluate why and how all this crazy stuff happened. And a lot have, many have, but most have not. That's my criticism of the boomers. It's not that, and I love boomers. I don't hate them. I wish you guys would just take a step back and look at the decisions you've made and look at why you believe what you believe and just reevaluate everything. That's it.
Well, the problem is when you had people coming home from World War II and they started having the boomer generation, this idea of everything's going to just keep going up and up and up and up, you know, buy a house, do this, buy a house, generations of this stuff. The problem is that's not the way it was before World War II. And the boomers were born into this idea.
They were born into the golden age, into the age of prosperity. So all they saw was prosperity.
Yeah. And that prosperity was brought on by their parents coming back from war.
Yes.
Thus the baby boom and all this other stuff. And
fourth turning. Yep.
And when you look at that same thing happened after the Civil War, they had this boom for a couple, you know, one or two generations, and then it started the plateau, and that's when you had the Great Depression, and it drops, and we're at that point now. 80 years.
That's what that's all about, right there.
Yeah, 80. We're in that 80-year cycle. We're coming up to the end, and you're gonna watch a great reset.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that one like Glenn Beck, but you know, things are gonna go back to the way they were. That's the reason.
This is no. They are not going back to the way they were.
Well, as far as like owning houses and generational.
Well, maybe we'll see. I hope so, but I'm not even holding my breath out for that.
Well, you can't sustain these housing prices, man. You can't expect people to be spending $500,000 for houses.
No, there will be some adjudicate. Here's what I don't trust as far as the Trump side goes, because this is my anti-Trump thing. It's not anti-Trump. I have a deep sneaking suspicion with, look, that we live in the age of Donald Trump right now because he has sucked all the oxygen out of the room by the very nature of his character and how present he is and how hard he works. So everything we talk about is in relationship to Donald Trump, whether we like it or not.
Well, the thing that's getting me right now with that is they kept saying that if he keeps this up, he's going to pull us into World War III or the World War IV, depending on what crowd you're talking to. But I think he's getting really close. What?
We've been in World War III. I know what you mean, like a hardcore kinetic. That's not okay. This actually is going to bring us back to what I really wanted to go down the road with you on, was when people say World War III, what do you think that looks like? Who is our enemy and who are we going to fight against? What are you talking about?
The thing is like realistically, if you think about it, the Cold War was the Third World War.
Correct.
It wasn't a kinetic war, though. Although
it were doing Vietnam, Korea, that was all the Cold War. Cuba, I mean, all those wars during that time.
But you didn't have the Russians and you didn't have the Soviets and the Americans squaring off on the field of battle.
Sure you did. Absolutely
you did, but it wasn't
proxies.
It wasn't.
Hey, I don't know if you know the concept called sheep dipping. You ever hear that?
I understand
Okay.
what you're saying.
All right.
But what I'm saying is that most people that look at a general outline of war.
Yeah, because they were raised in schools and they're now retarded. So I hear what you're saying. I know most people understand it in that context. It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's 100%
So
wrong.
we're getting ready to get into another world war. And I think that, the China, Russia's like, I just don't understand. There's so much going on over there. It's just
simplify it. Bring it down to where you understand it and what you see it as it's unfolding, because that's how most people see it.
well. First part is when you look at the history of that region of the world, Iran has been at war with us since they became since the Ayatollah got
since
in power.
we put the Ayatollah in power.
Since
Operation Ajax, and he came out of a French embassy, a French commune on Air France, and was flown in with concierge service to take over Iran, which wasn't a real country until the British developed it and turned it into Iran. It's really Persia.
Persia existed before.
It's called Persia, exactly. Iran is a British construct. That's my point.
Iran, yes.
Yes.
But you keep fucking me up like that.
I know. Sorry. It's all right. This is
the
good.
idea that we're not going to fight against. We need to go and kick Iran's ass. They've been killing Americans for 50 years, and either it's in Yemen, Houthis, whatever these proxies are.
I'm sorry, that is not a good argument.
I'm not done.
How many millions of people have we killed in the Middle East?
Well, the idea, first off, it's like, I have to say this. When Trump is all mad because those two very brave servicemen, I'm not trying to denigrate their service at all, got killed.
Not at all. One was 19, a kid.
I know.
19-year-old got blown up.
Yeah.
No, I cried about it. I shed. I'm like, it's so sad.
Oh, it tears me apart. But I'm sitting here going, and I'm glad he went down and saluted the coffins and everything. But it's like, he's all upset. And I'm like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? You think they're just going to take it on the chin and not retaliate? We wouldn't.
I don't think he thought that for a second. I think it was very well understood that we're going to take casualties in this. I think that's insane.
I know. And it's the same thing. You have one thing on. You have sex and intrigue and all this distraction on one hand. You could park a carrier group over here. It's the same thing. It's all for show.
It is, but also sometimes a show is important. A show can dictate the consciousness of a people.
Yeah.
A whole, movies are current churches.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they give us our common reference point for reality. You go to a different church and you ask someone like, oh, did you hear about this? No one knows what you're talking about. But if you say, oh, do you know about this moral story that we learned in this movie? Now everyone's like, oh, yeah, no, I saw that. No, I understand. Anyway, sorry, finish your thought.
It's like what he's trying to do is like, and it pisses me off that Trump he's being like every other political monster out there. Yeah, these two service members that were in the middle of Jordan. Like, my first question: what the hell are we doing in Jordan? Like, what the hell, right? Well, I understand we need to be there, but it's like, why are we the policemen of the world?
British owned it because we're the policemen for the British, and if we just upped and left everything, then you would get World War IV en masse. You have to unwind the empire and create stability within all these regions.
Well, I understand, but it's just it's all political theater, and it just frustrates the shit out of me.
It's not all political theater necessarily. I'm open to that being the case, that he is that cold-blooded. I've watched Trump ever since he first stepped onto the stage, nonstop. Every speech, every public appearance, everything I can get, not all of it, not 100%, but about 90% of it. I at least get to see, and I don't believe that Trump likes watching people get killed for no good reason.
I don't believe he does it either. But at the same time,
thing with Iran, well, okay, fine. Let's go back to what the Iran war is about, because the current narrative going around is that Israel tricked us into it with bad intelligence. Steve Bannon has said that. And look, people are like, well, you trust Steve Bannon? No, I don't trust Steve Bannon, but he talks for 4 hours a day. He ran the Trump campaign. He's around in that circle. If he just says wild, outlandish lies without any backing, then that will destroy his credibility, because he's on the public scene with a bunch of truthers that are trying to understand what's really going on. And if they smell any ounce of BS coming from this guy, he's going to get torn apart by his own audience.
Well,
I know these people. I've been around them. Like at the local level, they all watch this guy's show. I know this sounds weird, but that's why I watch it, because they all watch it. I'm trying to understand what they're seeing. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I understand. And I have really, when we were around.
I know the story. I know. Look, we told that story a dozen times.
I find him. I think he's totally full of shit.
I hear what you're saying, and in a sense, he is. But this is my thing. It's like you don't get full authenticity with anybody.
Well, yeah.
Like who's truthful? Like the most truthful person you've ever. Like I don't know who they are.
Well,
I say, well, my pastor always tells me the truth. Well, not till recently.
I don't know. I think Dan Senior was pretty hardcore on truth.
I would put Dan Senior up there. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think that you're a grandfather. And I mean, I love him, but if he thought it was the truth, that's what he thought it was.
That's right. And he had cognitive dissonance like everyone else does, that you put your blinders up for things that you cannot incorporate into your model of reality, because then that throws everything else out of whack. You built a rhythm for your life, and any disruption is met like, that's why people are so angry and violent right now, or like antagonistic to talking about any of this. They don't want they're barely keeping on. They're barely keeping their material lives together. They don't need any more disruption.
Yeah. And it really boils down to the bottom line is that people just want to live their lives and be left alone.
Yeah. And my problem is they just proved to us we're not going to be left alone. They crossed a line that is unforgivable in my book. Well, that's why I'm so hardcore about this. They crossed a line that we have gone to war over, like way less stuff than this. People should be hung from lampposts for what happened all around the country. And I'm not calling for that. I'm saying under a court of law, judiciously, if we brought back public executions, tens of thousands of bad actors that killed millions of people should be hung from lampposts. That's all I'm saying. Hypothetically. If they were responsible for that and that was proven. But that's what happened in my book.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing I have trouble with is like, why is the people, the thing that really bothers me about the Democrats right now is this tug-of-thug bullshit. It's like, why are you so pro-criminal?
Why do you even give them any air? Like, why even try to understand why they believe what they believe? They don't have any thoughts. They're told what to think.
Why no? But that's the thing it falls under my rules is stupid. I've told you the rules is stupid, right? First rule is don't try to understand stupid.
I understand. I'm just saying that this is deeper instead. Like, I understand these sayings, you can't fix stupid. I get that. I'm saying that they have been a large portion of our population has been deliberately targeted because they're suggestible neurotics that will follow authority structures no matter what. just like in the Soviet Union, just like in Maoist China, just like in whenever this happens throughout human history. England, it's happened in almost every country that's still stayed alive, any of the great civilizations. And we're in that phase now. We're a young country. We really haven't gone through too many of these cycles. We've gone through, the Civil War was the major one. The Revolution was obviously the kickstart to all this. But the Civil War, we've never recovered from the Civil War. Ever. We have, it has become, when I say recovered, we have not made peace with the Civil War and what it was really about. And that is going to have to be sorted karmically.
What I find interesting is if you look at society in the 40s and 50s, especially black culture, they were pretty civilized, and they were coming into their own, and they were targeted, and they put stuff to disrupt and kill the black family.
Right. But what does this have to do with, you can't fix, look, I have a real problem people just saying the Democrats are stupid.
No, I don't think they're stupid.
I'm saying it's worse than
evil,
stupid. I'm saying it's worse than stupid. Well, well, the everyday person walking around, it's like everyday Republicans. It's like, how many Republicans could I sit down and have this conversation with that we're having right now?
Probably not very many.
Like less than 1%. They would, and what would hold them? What would make them uncomfortable?
Well, we've attacked Trump to,
I didn't attack him. I did.
I don't like the idea that we're going to war.
Right, but okay, I actually am fine with this war. I'm good with it. Do you want to know why?
Sure.
Look, this is what's kind of strange is we've been talking about this for over a year, and it still feels like there's something missing in the story and the plot that you got. Like, you guys are very intelligent. That's not the issue. But for some reason, I don't know if you, and I could be wrong about this plot. It could be totally wrong, but I don't understand. Like, it's a theory. Let's go with that right now. We're operating under a theory that we are breaking away from the city of London financial.
Well, if you look at it
center.
from that, well, yeah, I understand, and that's a resounding theme in a lot of the stuff that
correct
you go off. But I come back to a different point. I don't like the idea now that I'm a parent and I lived through my 20 years of war. The idea of us putting our young children out there to fight this bullshit. So so when I come at it from that, that's why I'm pissed off. Is like the guy that came off as like, I'm going to stop all these wars. If Russia would have gone, if this would have happened while I was in there, Russia wouldn't be
right.
Russia wouldn't be. It's like,
well,
and now
that's
I understand.
true,
At some point we have to get in there and break up the British monopoly of this
over
bullshit.
The choke points. Yeah.
And part of the way that they're monopolizing it is the risk of taking ships through there. They're able to run the insurance company, and finances,
and they outsourced all the violence to America.
Yeah.
And guess what?
That we're making
violence is the ultimate currency, as EM tells us. It's the ultimate currency. We hold all the cards. That's why Trump says that we can kill anyone we want. You guys can't do shit about it.
I think it's funny when the people that are telling us we have to protect them are telling us how and the means in which we're going to do it.
Protect who? The people that tell us that we're going to protect something? Cody?
Well, when you, it's like that line out of, it's kind of like when you watch A Few Good Men, that line when he's on the thing, you need us on that wall. Well, we're the United States. They need us on that wall. They want us on that wall. They're going to sit there and dictate the way in which we're going to patrol that wall. And we're going to have, how we're going to do it. They want to have a say, but they don't want to put their ass on the line. And it just frustrates the shit out of me.
Well, there's an amazing movie. Oh man, I forgot the name of it. It's I think it's Sound of Glory. It's something Glory, but it's about a French battalion or a French platoon in World War I, and they were overrun by Germans, and it wasn't their fault. It was a miscommunication with the officer class that messed everything up. But because they fell back, that platoon or that regiment was considered to be cowardly, and they basically told the lieutenant, like, you have to pick out 3 guys to be executed for cowardice on behalf of the whole platoon. Paths to Glory. That's the name of it. Paths to Glory. It's on YouTube. Highly recommend everyone watch that. And it shows you in high relief the disconnect between what we would call the officer class and the worker class, the elites and the laborers. It's a very classist movie, but this is the thing with the communists or the leftists or the socialists that we call them. They're right about that there are different classes, and that's something the right hasn't quite agreed with, because we don't, especially in America, because we don't like that idea. We don't want to bow and scrape to somebody that's like rich and be like, "Oh, Your Majesty," We're not like that. So I get
because like Woodrow Wilson and Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, they introduced this concept through their social programs of the middle class and the upper middle class. And
sure.
And the concept is that the United States doesn't have a class system because we're not part of the monarchy. But it wasn't the resistance to that.
Go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry.
The resistance to that is definitely paramount. But, when you come down to it, they come up with a class system to just keep people in line. And it's all about envy. It always comes back to envy. Everything comes back to envy. So,
yep. I mean, that's why EM calls them the resentfuls.
Yeah. And the more we dive into it, the more EM's concept works. And it's just, that's part of the thing in this last year that we've talked to these people, and it's just mind blowing how they're linking us all up. I've changed my opinion a lot on how it all links up,
which is good. And I changed mine too. Like, I haven't been solid state in this whole process either. It's been changing.
No, I didn't want to think your sales a lot too.
I believed we were under full-blown attack, and all red-blooded men needed to stand up and fight back now, and if we don't, we're going to die. Like, that was my mentality, and it still is to a degree. But as I've opened up to the spiritual aspect of all this and the operating system behind man and why people do what they do, now it's starting to make a lot more sense why this all is having to happen the way it is. And it's not like I believe that there is free agency and we can mitigate damage. That's always there. But the logical conclusion is always going to come about. It's that, and that's what Christianity brings to the forefront, is that we have faith that the Creator, God, has laid this out in a way that this isn't all just a giant waste of time. That's what killed me, is thinking of all the sacrifices our ancestors went through to get us to this point, for us to shit the bed on the most absurd, insane BS fear slop that I've ever seen in my entire life. And not even my life, in human history. I've never seen a fear campaign waged this intensely and this stupidly on any population, let alone the population of the entire planet, all at the same time. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
And it's going to take us probably a couple generations to recover from it. But anyway,
I mean, I'm just tired. I'm not trying to say you're boring me.
No, it's fine. No, we'll wrap up here soon. But I do want to get more into the spiritual components of this as we're seeing it. But in order to get there, we're going to have to understand why phenomenologically this is all happening in front of us. And you're saying, okay, here's what I hear you saying. You don't like Trump or any politician using politicianary, like they're fighting for their country and all this stuff, and then showing up to Dover for the bodies and putting on a show when really they don't give a damn.
Well, I think he did a better job than Biden did, where he's like sitting there looking at his watch. So how much longer is this shit? He was respectful, but it's just like, what did you? It's like they act. The right wing media is acting like, oh my god, they shot a missile at us and killed these people. It's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? Rainbows and ice cream here, man. We're shooting and killing people over there.
I mean, based on the amount of ordnance we've launched, I can't believe we've only had. I think it's less than 10 deaths so far.
We're up to 16.
16. Okay, I mean that's like,
which is impressive considering.
That's very impressive, to be honest, with this kind of campaign.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's kind of shocking.
I'm glad.
Like, if we were really at full war with Iran, why are there sleeper cells not launching all over the United States, blowing everything up?
Well,
why are they not hitting Israel?
The theory is they are hitting Israel.
No, not really.
The theory that they're saying is the reason that that's not happening is that the FBI's foiling all that stuff. But
why are they not hitting UAE? Why are they not hitting Saudi Arabia? Why did they have all these launchers? Why are they not hitting all this?
Well, they are shooting at Saudi Arabia
a little bit, but dude,
and they're shooting at the UAE.
But this is my point, though. Like, to what degree? They're okay.
Well,
you're right. You're right. I said they're not shooting. They are, but in terms of total war, we're not seeing total war. This is limited.
The thing that gets me is oh shit, I lost my train of thought. God damn it.
About the Iranians targeting.
It's just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Iranians, and I understand that.
But why? But why is the question? Why are you not a fan of? And I'm not either. I don't care, to be honest with you. I'm an American.
Well, maybe it's just because. Maybe it's just because I'm tired of having a country out there. Death to America. I'm really getting tired of this, and I'm looking more into it to make sure that I'm not being gaslit. And
you are
psyop. Let me finish.
Yep.
I'm really getting worried about the Muslim uprising in Europe, and they're basically infiltrating, doing what they couldn't do through mass conquest, but they're doing through soft conquest. They're going in and getting elected to all these
local
places.
City councils and all that.
Yeah, they're doing a soft takeover instead of a full military takeover. And I'm not saying I'm not anti-Islam Muslim, but I don't really like the idea of them building all their mosques and all that stuff around here. And the idea
me either. No, me either.
And I'm going to be honest, I kind of like the idea of going to war with them.
But you're talking about them targeting a bunch of other Islamic countries that aren't exactly saints in this whole drama.
I think the problem that I come down to is, like, you have different kinds of Muslims. You have, it's like we were talking with that gentleman from the gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you think about this Muslim communism? You have socialist Muslims like Iran, then you have kingdoms like Saudi and the UAE and all this stuff, and it's just, it's hard to.
My argument with all these guys is it would be a lot more clear if people looked at how financial transactions are taking place at a global scale. Forget about the narrative that you hear on the news. When you watch money transfers and who's allowed to be clear, like what clearinghouses are allowing for certain transactions, like how is it that Iran is able to conduct international finance? Right now, it's through the proxies of China and Russia, but they're all heavily sanctioned too. and we control a lot of the SWIFT system around the world, and the US dollar is in insanely high demand. I know people are like, oh, the dollar's dying. It's like, look, the US dollar is the ultimate backed currency on the currency
Well, definitely
markets.
Trump has done a lot to fortify that position.
No doubt. But
yeah.
But that's what it ultimately comes down to, is the money.
But when you come, when you take it from that, the idea that I've come to the realism on one of the sources of the power because when you look at the English influence, how they do the same thing. They're doing a soft war. They're no longer sending troops all over the world. They're doing it through finance. That's how they're taking over.
And by the way, British, not English, British, very different.
Well,
but I know what you mean. I'm just saying for the audience, for the people out there, there's a difference between British and English, in my worldview.
Oh, clarify.
Yeah, and I think it's really important.
Well, no, what's the difference?
It's what we've been talking about the last year. Is England was conquered in about 1668 when they cut Charles' head off.
When they had the English Revolution, yeah.
And a bunch of Dutch like oligarchs came in and bought up parliamentarians in England and basically did a soft coup. Cromwell tried to stop it. He died and might have been killed. I don't know, but the monarchy was dead at that point. And then who brought the monarchy back? The Dutch. Under their protection, and that's the Praetorian Guard. You think your security is your protection? Yeah. No, they're not. They're your assassins.
And it is interesting that they actually had to change the name of the royal family because they were all Germans.
Well, it's why they also changed it.
Yeah.
But it's also why they changed it from English to British. They wanted to disconnect the history of what the English people did. The Brittanies were a small clan in southern England when the Romans invaded during the Viking Wars. And they were extinguished a long time before that happened. So why did they name they chose the name of the smallest kingdom that was wiped out first to be the name of the glorious empire, the British Empire. Brittany. Yeah. Brittany, that's an old Slavic tribe that was wiped out 1,000 years before this even happened. It's a psyop. Psyops are not new to today. They've been going on a long time. It was easier to rewrite history in the past. Today, it's a little trickier. Still doable.
Oh. So anyways, let's wrap this up because we're getting a little long in the tooth. Where do we want to see ourselves? The question I want to ask, though, when we're going to end this on, is we've had all this time with this discovery over the last 52 episodes, so a full year of episodes. Where do you want to go now?
I want to go into the more esoteric, and when I say, so again, here's terms. These are just words, nothing magical about them. Exoteric is the external world that we see around us. Esoteric is the world that we see within us. That's all it means. Going within and expounding upon that and maybe opening up to different perceptions of reality, including the Muslim perception. It'd be useful to learn how the Muslims perceive reality compared to us.
I wonder if we could get an interview with some Muslim.
I'm sure we could. That's a great idea. I would love to do that.
We should interview some Muslims and contrast.
Yeah, no, we can talk to the Muslims. That'd be great. I would love to. And by the way,
it's like, because maybe instead of standing here being upset at my perception of reality, we should actually research what the actual reality is.
Spoken like a good Englishman. I agree. let's understand our enemies before we kill them. That's a good idea. I'm just kidding. No, we're not killing the Muslims. Look, the Muslims it's like Christianity or any other Protestant religion. It's that we're all aiming toward the divine and God, and we just need to find our way to get there. And some people grew up in different situations. And I would say I have been studying the Sufi branch of Islam, and it is very interesting. I'm still going to be a Christian. I'm not going into Sufism. I think it's ultimately a dead end. And quite frankly, my theory on Islam is that it was started by, I'm not going to say the Jesuits, but a sect of basically Vatican intelligence that seeded this idea.
Okay, so we're going to write that down. That's one thing we're going to try to figure out.
I think Islam is basically a psyop, unfortunately. I think that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Well, we're going to bring evidence to the
look, that's conjecture. I do have some. You're right. I should try to make a case for this because I
think, I showed anger and frustration towards my perception. I should bring evidence I should try to prove my opinion. And
it's not even about being like, oh, these are good guys. It's like understanding your enemy is the most important thing to defeat them. Sometimes people don't want to understand, like the neocons are a perfect example.
Well, maybe
of this.
Through our investigation, we find out that they're not really our enemies. I don't know.
They're all humans. Everyone's human, but people are caught up in ideas and religiosity and insanity, and they're gonna do crazy shit because they were told to.
Oh, I understand. So
Christians do this too, but Muslims, yes, they need to have a come to Jesus moment for sure.
No pun intended. Well, every pun intended.
No, every pun intended. Agree.
So. But it's been a very exciting, like old school, back to just the two of us where we started. I thought that was kind of cool that here it is, episode 52, and we started the way we're having a conversation the way we started.
Yeah, no, I like this. This was nice. Thank you. Good idea.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So, anyways, if you guys want to help us out, go check us out on our Patreon. The link will be in the description. If you want to help pay for some of this stuff and help us continue to stay on the air, we have a merch store. Check that out. And if you like what we're saying, go ahead and subscribe to this craziness.
And if you want to apply for an interview, or if you have interviewee suggestions, anything like that for more content, I'm open, and I can do stuff on my own too. And I'm open to all takers. I'm down for it. So someone wants to come on and tangle, I'll do it with me. I'm making an executive decision for you, Cody, but for me personally, I'd be willing to do that. And then I'll leave editorial decisions up for Cody for the channel. How about that?
When did you ever start doing that?
I'm just throwing that out there now. It just came to me.
You're just coming up with ideas that
hey, you want to talk to Muslims? Hey, any Muslims want to talk? Let's go. I'm down to talk. I love you.
I'm serious.
That sounds great. I'd love to.
All right. Let's try to get some Muslims on and have a real
in the spirit of understanding. I want to understand your position.
I don't want to sound like a racist bigot.
Yes, I want
a bigot. I'm not a racist. I hate that term when they combine. I don't want to sound like a bigot.
We see you as humans. We love you in the image of God as we are created, and we just want to understand your position. That's it.
Exactly. So, but anyways, leave us some suggestions on the things. Our ways to get a hold of us are numerous, and go ahead and reach out with some suggestions. Tell us how much you like Colin's beard. I mean, make the man feel good. So, all right. On that note, thank you all for watching. Colin, you have a nice week. We'll talk to you next week. And thank you.